Courage. Courage is the strength to do something that frightens you. It's not the absence of fear. It's stepping into what feels fearful and doing it anyway. And courage can come in lots of different forms, and it definitely comes when you are reaching for your goals, when you're reaching for your vision, when you're reaching for your level of peak performance. And I've had to lean into my different levels of courage. I've had to be courageously determined in the face of adversity. I have had to overcome shyness and speak up where it felt really uncomfortable and I was afraid of the consequences. And yet, I'm here to tell the tale. So, when you think about being courageous for yourself, when you wish you had the courage, it doesn't suddenly happen. Somebody can't hand you courage. You can't go and purchase a pot of courage. You can only dig deep down inside yourself and get curious about what it's going to take for you to be courageous. One of the instances where I spoke up, I had been pushed and pushed and pushed and squeezed into a corner. And I felt like I was being crushed and I felt angry. So it came out of frustration and anger and not being heard and not being understood. And that's where my courage to speak up came. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't done in a beautifully curated way in any means. But I knew at that point I just had to be courageous, just like that, and say exactly what I thought and tell people how I was feeling. And then I turned, I walked out of the room, and I drove away. That part wasn't particularly courageous because I didn't stay. The courageous part got my message across. And so I ask you today, where do you feel you need to be courageous? Where do you feel you need to stand up, stand your ground? Where do you feel you want to, for your own level of peak performance, stand out from the crowd? Be courageous. Be yourself more than you've ever been before in your life so that you go from that level of mediocrity to that level of next for you, to the level of next again until you reach that peak performance. And all the time you're pushing your strengths, you're pushing to the edge of your abilities, you're pushing yourself to reach that higher level. And that's going to be the courage that each one of us needs to take responsibility for, to be courageous. Because if not now, when are we going to do it? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? How much longer do we know we have on this planet? We don't. It could have all ended yesterday. Could have ended 5 minutes ago, but we're still here. And so I encourage you to take the steps into courage through fear and understand that you might not be very elegant in taking that courage, just like I wasn't elegant in taking that courage. And it took me a long time to get there. So lean in Look at where you can take courage to do something different, to be something different, to speak in a different way, to dress in a different way, to be authentic to yourself, whatever those pieces of courage mean for you, so that you can break through and you can get there. You can get to your level of peak performance, despite what others say, despite what others think, despite what others feel about you. Those things you can't do anything about. This, yourself, owning who you are, owning your strengths, owning your things you're not so good at, not blaming, not saying it's because of something else that's happening in the world, not blaming and saying, that's why I'm not doing it. It's because of that person, because this is what happened. And that, once we can take that on board and get away from all of that outside noise, and we can go into ourselves and step forward, it makes a big difference. It makes a difference to us as individuals, and it makes a difference to those around us. Because once somebody can see that you're taking courage, that inspires them. It inspires them to take their own level of courage. Just as I was speaking to a client this week, and she said, look at you, look at what you've done, look how far you've got, look how much you've changed. And I do look back, and I am very different. Or am I just more of myself? It's your choice to take courage. It's your choice to decide. There'll be another video coming up on screen. I'll see you over there. And I wish you to take the courage in the place that you need to take those steps. Bye for now.